Hey guys, Creator Mom. So I'm reading another book by Richard Dotts, and it's called Mindless Money Manifestations. It's really good so far. I'm just like on the first couple chapters. Um, so far it's nothing new per se, right? Because there really is nothing new under the sun. Everything is basically the same principle over and over again when you boil things down, which is essentially allowing your inner state to basically be at peace and at rest, and feeling the presence of God. Really, he talks about feeling the inner state of abundance, and that how we're so conditioned through society to view abundance coming only through one door, which is money, right? The monetary source, which seems to be most desirable for us because, like I said in my last video about feeling like you have control and power when you have money, because you have the power to make decisions and to purchase things. And he was saying how sometimes people ask for big lump sums of money that, they say they want $1 million. Well, really, like they know in their heart it's too big of a gap from where they are currently in their inner state and what they're saying. And really that people are saying that out of that conditioning that we received. They think that if they ask for this big sum of money that they'll never have to worry about money again and that they'll feel secure, but that's not really necessarily the case. And of course, there's nothing wrong with being a millionaire or having millions of dollars. It's always the place we're coming from. If we want that $1 million because we're afraid, then it's the wrong place. And maybe you might end up losing it anyways, right? Because of you never change your inner state. But when he talked about how money is just one door, that really made a lot of sense to me in a visualizing way, because God is abundance is everywhere. And I was realizing how many doors of abundance I've had in my life. And I feel like a lot of my abundance has come through favor, with people. And it hasn't necessarily come through me receiving stacks of money to buy what I want, essentially. It seems like I get what I desire in a way, but not through my own self having the cash money to do it. It just comes through. I feel like my source of monetary abundance is really the favor of people, being seen in good favor with people. And I'm like, wow, like that was just really hitting me. I'm like, that's crazy. That's kind of cool. It was nothing that I ever tried to do or to get. It was just something that happened naturally. And I was like, that is really neat. See, when I was at a shelter, I'm sorry, I feel like I have cereal in my teeth, granola. When I was staying at a shelter for 5 months, I feel like I did have favor in certain ways that maybe other people didn't. Not to say that I'm better than anybody else. Like I said, I don't really know why exactly that is. But, with my dog, like how I got my dog, it was totally supernatural. And it came through favor of a person. It was insane. Oh my God. Like, now that I'm really thinking about it, it's like hitting me hard. Like, Sheena, look at all the abundance of favor that you have had that has orchestrated things in your life. And I'm just like, wow, that is crazy. When I was at the shelter, I went to Florida because my mother had purchased tickets for us to go there for Christmas, which I kind of regret going, but I don't, because in a way it was another huge demonstration for me. And someone gave me a ride, and really that doesn't really happen. And I ended up leaving Florida early because of the harassment of my mother. And even that worked out perfectly through the favor of people. And I'm just like mind blown when I look back at it. And when I go back to about my dog, it took a couple of people to orchestrate that. It worked divinely, as a matter of fact. It was pure divine, because the day that I knew I was getting my dog back, I felt it in my heart and I knew it. I said, today's the day. I know it. Sure enough, I got a message. And from my ex's friend or whatever. It was like, ready. He's ready to give the dog, Anyways, and then I had to orchestrate that with the shelter workers. And it was all last minute. This wasn't like a plan, like, oh yeah, next week I'm going to get my dog. No, it was like, today's the day. Boom. Everything just fell in line. Boom, boom, boom. The shelter worker did it like last minute. I swear to God, it was like by the hair on my chinny chin chin. This is how, like, moment to moment, that it was so exactly orchestrated that if it had fallen off by 10 minutes, that it would have just all been ruined. It just happened perfectly. And this was all through the favor of people. This was like divine abundance flowing. And I was like, wow. Wow, wow, wow. So then the fact also that my dog received pretty good favor. Unfortunately, I think she did have to stay in a cage quite a bit. But where she was staying was closer to where I was, so that, somebody was keeping her for me, basically. Like, she didn't necessarily have to be all the way at a doggy shelter, per se, which was farther away. And I was willing to drive and go see her at the shelter. Like, I wasn't, but this worker, brought my dog to me like every week or every other week to visit with our dog. And that was favor. Even though they say there was other people, put it this way, who had pets that that maybe they couldn't see, or they were having difficulty. It was a divine flow of favor. I think the Bible says something like, children are a blessing from the Lord. And I think there's something about them bringing favor also. And I feel like I do have favor in my life. Like, even prior to having children, I feel like I've had favor also. But I think children also bring favor, because not that you use your kids, but people see kids, but there was other women at the shelter that had kids too, but their attitudes were off. Their attitudes, it's about your attitude as well. Do you have an attitude of gratitude, or do you have an attitude of looking at everything and having a fucking problem with everything? Now, don't get me wrong, I had issues with things when I was at the shelter, because, but it's about, like, still kind of maintaining that sense of gratitude as while you're also, like, having issues. There's a difference. Anyways, so that was the whole thing with the dog, was absolute favor. When I finally moved out, I had a ton of favor, and they came through the right place and the right time type of thing. It was just kind of divine orchestration with getting furniture and stuff. Can't make it up. It was nothing that I could have made up myself. It happened to me, a lot of stuff. There were things that I had to purchase with my own money or whatever. But through bridges of incidences, divine favor has flowed to me in ways I know not how, in ways that I could not plan for them to. And living this way could be scary because you don't have control necessarily. And like I was referring to my other video, which I think people probably looked at the title and assumed they knew what I was talking about. But again, a lot of people would rather have cash money because you have control. And that feels better. Sometimes having control over knowing what you're going to buy, as opposed to not knowing the how and like all of a sudden expecting favor. Now, mind you, I like money, but I also like spontaneity and favor because I'm adventurous. I have an adventurous soul, spirit or whatever. So I do like that stuff as well. But I like money too, you know? I like both. I'll take all the doors of abundance. Boom, boom, boom. Thank you. So, it's all good. Giving, receiving, right? Anyways, what else? There are so many examples in my life when I sat down to actually think about it. But, you know, I think that I have seen abundance and favor in my life for a long time, even as a youngin', you know. This might seem silly, but this one example is like an early example when I was like a teenager. I was dating this guy. He was like my first love, quote unquote. And my inner heart, like God within me, was even speaking to me at this point in time. And I didn't even know until I really had my second birth, you know, my spiritual birth, the inner man, born again. But I will never forget it. I was in high school and I was walking down to the bus stop, which was down at the corner of my street. And in my heart, I heard, Eric's, you know, the guy that I was in love with he's going to ask you to the prom. He's going to ask you to his prom. I was like a junior in high school or sophomore. I think I was a sophomore and he was a senior, obviously. So yeah, inside my heart, it goes, he's going to ask you to the prom or whatever, to his prom. And I was like, whoa. I think I just had that. It like came like in the form of a juicy thought, like a thought that had some power on it. And I just went about my day life, and sure enough, not long after, he invites me to his prom. And that was a big sign of abundance in my young life there, because and favor, because it was an experience that stayed with me. And it kind of sounds dumb a little bit to me right now, like, wow, you're almost 40 and that was a memorable experience for you. Well, yeah, as a teenager, to go to to your first love prom is a big deal. So it was a memorable event for me. It was amazing. It was a great night. Did that relationship end up working out? Absolutely not. Did the guy even really love me back? I don't really think so, clearly. But it was all in all, it was still a memorable divine experience. You know, when you experience love as a teenager, you know, I mean, there had to be some kind of love there. He might have probably just asked somebody else or whatever. We had already been dating for a while. Anyways, point is, it was a great night, whatever. It was just about the event itself. It was like magical, you know? It doesn't matter that it didn't work out or whatever. What matters was the moment, was the event in time. When I applied for college, university, I only applied to one, and I got total favor. I got a full scholarship. Was I given $100,000 cash? No. But I was given favor. I was given an open door to go to school for free to a really nice university in New Jersey. So that was a blessing. So yeah, just there's just ways like that that favor has played out in my life. And there's probably more that it's innumerable, really. So, yeah. Anyways, this video is 15 minutes long. I think I'm going to end it here. But just thinking about how abundance has flowed into my life through favor was, I don't know, it was really like an eye-opener for me. It's like, wow, very cool.